Initially, a lot of people were dismissing your concerns, and they were saying that this object is nothing but a comet, and it's very normal. But then as it got closer and as we got more data, it seems like you're correct.
Well,
this is a very unusual object.
There is something really important to recognize here, that usually when you deal with scientific matters, they have very little impact on the future of humanity. Here, if we ever encounter alien technology, everything will change. And the intelligence agencies know very well that events with very small probability have to be considered seriously because they could have major implications. The scientists would say we should be as careful as possible at talking about anything other than a rock. And therefore, we should consider the possibility that things like us existed long before us.
Joe Rogan has interviewed astronauts, conspiracy theorists, and Nobel Prize-winning physicists. But the moment Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb brought up 3I Atlas, something shifted. Joe wasn't skeptical. He wasn't laughing. He was stunned. Because what Avi described on his podcast wasn't just a comet. It was a high-speed, hyper-reflective object from outside the solar system that moved with clockwork regularity and broke almost every known rule of celestial mechanics. Joe leaned in. "Wait, you're saying it has no tail?" Avi nodded. "None, not even when it passed close to the sun." That's when it clicked. Joe, known for cutting through scientific jargon to reach the core of an idea, realized this wasn't another UFO story. This was a real object tracked by NASA, JPL, and independent astronomers around the world. It had a name, 3I Atlas. It had a pulse, flashing every 16 hours and 16 minutes, and it had a speed, over 130,000 miles per hour. More than that, it had a silence. No radio emissions, no outgassing, no spiral tumble like other comets, just a steady glide through space, like it knew where it was going. As millions listened, Joe asked the question others were too afraid to speak aloud. If it's not a comet, what is it? Loeb didn't answer directly, but his theory that it might be a technological object landed like a shockwave. And suddenly, this wasn't a fringe idea. It was mainstream. Because when Joe Rogan listens, millions listen with him. Most objects in our solar system follow predictable paths. Asteroids spiral in from the belt. Comets loop from the icy edges of the Oort cloud. Even interstellar visitors like Oumuamua came in fast, turned sharply, and left. But 3I Atlas is different. From the very beginning, astronomers noticed something strange. Its path wasn't chaotic. It didn't spiral or wobble. It glided, smooth, precise, as if it was following a flight path, not just responding to gravity. When Joe Rogan asked Avi Loeb how scientists even knew this object wasn't from here, Avi explained it plainly. It came from above the ecliptic plane. Its velocity was higher than solar escape speed, and it didn't match any known orbital dynamics. Even stranger, Atlas didn't come from the direction of the galactic center. Instead, it entered from a quiet region, less crowded with stars or comets. And as it crossed the solar system, it ignored the gravitational nudges we expected. It passed Mars, swept around the sun, and didn't behave like a rock or an icy nucleus. It behaved like something that had already calculated the route. Loeb's words were clear. This isn't how a rock moves, it's how a probe moves. That's when Joe stopped him. Are you saying this could be guided? Avi didn't say yes, but he didn't need to. The data, its speed, its angle, its refusal to arc or shed mass, said it all. And if it wasn't natural, the implications were enormous. All comets grow tails when they approach the sun. It's a basic rule of space science. Radiation heats the icy surface, releasing gas and dust, creating the iconic glowing stream behind the object. But when 3I Atlas approached the sun, something astonishing happened. Nothing. No tail, no bright gas, no streak of escaping material. The object remained a tight, reflective point of light. Even under long exposure photography, designed specifically to detect faint cometary outflows, Atlas stayed clean. Observatories in Italy, Chile, and even Hawaii confirmed it. It was one of the only times in modern history where a presumed comet remained completely silent, even during perihelion. Loeb told Joe, if it were made of ice or carbon dust like most comets, We'd see some kind of outgassing. But here, we have nothing. That's extremely rare. Or it's not a comet at all. Joe raised an eyebrow. So it's made of what, then? Avi speculated. Maybe metal. Maybe exotic compounds. Maybe something that doesn't react to solar energy in any familiar way. But the more you look, the less it looks like a comet, and the more it resembles something artificial. It's not just the absence of a tail, it's the presence of consistent uniform reflectivity. Like the object is shielded, or structured, or simply doesn't have volatile surface material to begin with. Joe summarized it best. If it walks like a duck but doesn't quack and flies like a drone, it might not be a duck. Most comets are chaotic. Their brightness varies with ice activity, sunlight angles, or random tumbling. But 3i Atlas isn't chaotic, it pulses. Once every 16 hours and 16 minutes its brightness surges, like a heartbeat, not once, not sometimes, every single cycle, for weeks. European and African observatories confirmed it independently. Loeb pointed out the precision. That kind of regularity is unheard of in natural objects. It's more like a machine, or a beacon. Joe paused. You mean like, it's signalling? Avi shrugged. If it is, it's not aimed at us. But regular light variation implies geometry, maybe a rotating panel, maybe something reflective. That's the key. If it was spinning randomly, or had an uneven surface, the light curve would drift. But it doesn't. It's exact. Down to the minute, like clockwork. The idea of an interstellar lighthouse isn't new. Pulsars were once thought to be alien signals until we discovered their neutron star origin. But this is different. This object isn't emitting energy, it's reflecting sunlight, on a schedule. And yet, it's not tumbling, it's not irregular, its brightness changes are too clean, too constant, too intentional looking. Joe said it flat out. That sounds more like something made than something born. And that idea? It's still echoing through the scientific community. Based on its speed, 3i Atlas should have been flung off course by now, or slowed, or bent by the gravitational fields of the sun and planets. But it hasn't. Instead, it's moving fast, too fast, and it's barely affected by gravity. That suggests something shocking. The object might be extremely light, or hollow, or both. Loeb explained the concept of solar sails to Joe, ultra-thin structures that use sunlight as propulsion. The radiation pressure from the sun isn't strong, but over time it builds momentum. A light enough structure could glide without fuel. If it's a thin sheet, Loeb said, it wouldn't need engines. Joe blinked. So this thing is sailing through space, on sunlight? Possibly, but the shape matters too. Most comets are round or jagged. But if this thing is flat, or symmetrical, it could be using the sun's energy intentionally. The reflectivity data supports this. Some readings suggest that the surface is unusually bright, possibly metallic, and that could explain both the light pulse and the strange trajectory. A rock wouldn't do this, but a structure could. Joe laughed nervously. That's not just weird, that's sci-fi. But Loeb wasn't smiling. Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. Its gravity shapes asteroid belts, guides comets, and even deflects potential Earth-impacting bodies. It's a gatekeeper, a giant, and now 3i Atlas is heading straight toward it, but not on a crash course, more like a rendezvous. Loeb explained this clearly on Rogan's show. If I wanted to study the solar system, Jupiter would be my first target. It has radiation belts, atmospheric storms, over 90 moons. It's a natural laboratory. More than that, its magnetic field is immense. Any object that enters its orbit faces intense forces, gravity, magnetism, radiation. And yet 3i Atlas doesn't seem to be avoiding it. Joe leaned forward. So you're saying it's going to drop something? Avi didn't confirm it, but the idea is real. What if Atlas is not the main payload? What if it's a delivery system? Or a relay? We've sent probes into Jupiter before, Galileo, Juno, Pioneer 10. We've dropped atmospheric sensors. Why wouldn't someone else? The approach vector toward Jupiter is precise, and if the object changes trajectory after passing near the gas giant, it could reveal something astonishing, whether it was deflected or adjusted intentionally. Whatever happens during that flyby will be watched closely. Because it may be the moment where a silent traveller either reveals its mission or vanishes forever. Why here? Why now? That was Joe's question, and it's a good one. 3I Atlas is the third known interstellar object we've discovered in under 10 years. First came Oumuamua in 2017, then Borisov in 2019, now Atlas in 2025. 3 confirmed visitors from outside our solar system in one human decade. Avi Loeb calls this a statistical anomaly. The chance of seeing 3 in such a short span with this kind of behaviour is very low, unless we're in a region of space that's frequently visited. Loeb suggests a possibility that few scientists are ready to entertain publicly, that our solar system is being watched, not by chance, but as part of a survey or a test. Joe brought up a chilling comparison. What if we're a zoo exhibit, and these things are drones just checking in? Loeb smiled, but didn't deny it. Statistically, intelligent life should be common across the galaxy. The Fermi paradox asks, if so, where is everyone? Maybe the better question is, what if they're already here, but we're just noticing now? Atlas's arrival isn't just timed with its own orbit. It's happening during solar maximum, during increased seismic activity on Earth, during strange planetary alignments. Coincidence? Maybe. But as Loeb says, coincidences lose their innocence after the third time. Whatever 3I Atlas is, it wasn't designed to make a grand entrance. It didn't arrive with a flash. It didn't broadcast a signal. It didn't veer toward Earth or demand attention. Instead, it slipped into our solar system quietly. It moved along calculated lines, ignored the laws that guide comets, and reflected light with the kind of rhythm that doesn't happen by accident. And yet, somehow, we noticed. A telescope caught it, astronomers tracked it, and then voices like Avi Loeb and unexpectedly Joe Rogan amplified it. They asked the questions that others wouldn't, not to provoke fear, but to pursue truth. Because 3I Atlas doesn't behave like a natural object. It behaves like something that was made, something built, something launched, and maybe something watching. The truth is, we still don't know what it is, but here's what we do know. It doesn't melt like a comet, it doesn't drift like a rock, and it doesn't flicker like a random body reflecting sunlight. It pulses with purpose. If it was built, it changes our place in the cosmos. If it wasn't, then it's a new kind of matter, one we don't yet understand. Either way, the universe just got louder, and this is only the beginning. If you want to keep following the journey of 3I Atlas as it approaches Jupiter, Earth, and whatever comes next, subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with your theory. Was this object natural, or was it never meant to be found? Because sometimes the most powerful signals are the ones that arrive in silence. See you in the next episode.